What's really good? We back with the Box Clinic and more. Y'all know what it is. Back on the boxing grind. You know. And Bob Arum is on the fence between who's the number one pound for pound fighter between Lomachenko and Terrence Crawford. And to me, it's as clear as day. It's Terrence Crawford. But it seems that, for whatever reason, top rank ESPN don't ever put Crawford on the same pedestal as Lomachenko. And if you was impressed by Bob Arum and say your life on the line, you had to choose one for $1 billion, give us an honest answer, or put him on the polygraph test, he'd pick Lomachenko. I mean, it's obvious, that he believes Lomachenko is the pound for pound number one fighter. That's the guy they want to push. It's obvious how they pushed his fight for Miguel Moraga. They was running commercials the weekend before the fight happened, compared to Terrence Crawford fighting in the Undisputed Lineal Championship fight, where they didn't start running promos until the weigh-in for the fight. That right there should tell you something. Crawford has won every weight, has won every belt in 140 pounds. And it was no asterisk by any of the guys he fought. You look at Lomachenko. Rigondeaux was a smaller guy. Let's just keep it real. He discredited that win himself after the fight. Nicholas Walters was on the shelf for a long time. Miguel Moraga moved up. Good win by Gary Russell, right? That's a good win. I got to say that. Excellent win by him. Jason Sosa, come on, a guy who had like a handful of amateur fights, if any. He lost to Orlando Salido. How can you put this man above Terrence Crawford is beyond me. And I understand that he riding the fence because he got a relationship with both fighters. He said it's a good problem to have. Like I said, I'm going to link the article to the description. But if you had to ask him to be honest, in his opinion, he favors Lomachenko way more harder than he favors Terrence Crawford. You see how he dissed Terrence Crawford after he beat Felix Diaz and called out Keith Thurman, He said, man, shut up, man. You know Keith Thurman injured. Why you calling that man out? Shut up. Put that boy in his place in that interview. Like, man, you talking rubbers. And Rigondeaux told him before the Lomachenko fight that Terrence Crawford was the best fighter that he had. And Bob Arum doesn't recognize that because he doesn't treat Terrence Crawford like the best fighter he has. Let's keep it real. Let's keep it trill. Crawford is going to be fighting for his third world title at 3 different weight classes, Let's keep it real. But they push Lomachenko way harder than they push Terrence Crawford. That's a fact. Factual statement. And it is what it is, though. You hear the stories going around, people saying that, Top Rank doesn't promote black fighters the way they're supposed to. I'm not going to get into that. But I can tell you they don't promote Terrence Crawford the right way. A lot of fighters not promoted the right way, as far as black American fighters. That's true. They don't have a fan base. It's hard for them to get a fan base, and that's factual. But it's hard for Eastern European to get a fan base as well, too. And they pushing Lomachenko like people, and they telling he the greatest since Ali and all this stuff like that. You don't hear Bob Arum speak on Terrence Crawford like that, do you? No, he don't compare Terrence Crawford to none of the all-time greats from what I've heard. Maybe I might be mistaken. But he said Lomachenko the greatest since Ali. The best fighter since Ali. He said the same thing about Floyd, too, though. But that right there tells you who we rolling with. And it is what it is, man. It definitely is what it is. We know Top Rank's agenda. Like Terrence Crawford had an opportunity to get signed with a big promoter. I think this was the only opportunity when I think Mikey Garcia and Timothy Bradley, I think it was mostly Mikey, referred him to Cameron Duncan, and Cameron Duncan sold him up to Top Rank. So he had too many options. He was a dude that was in the streets shooting dice, got shot in the head, drove himself to the hospital. And for whatever reason, maybe because he was in the streets still on that thug-ish and in the streets, he wasn't the family man that he's been worthed into now. Maybe he scared promoters away. Maybe because he wasn't an Olympian. Maybe because he didn't win the big fights in the Olympics because he had a pro style. Like I said, he lost to the welterweight who lost to Sean Porter early in his career, Ray Robinson, who's in the top 15, said he beat him, and Crawford family tried to beat him up after the amateur fight. Maybe because he lost to Danny Garcia in the amateurs. Same thing with Tim Bradley. He wasn't the greatest amateur, but he was a better pro. And maybe, they put too much stock into guys being great amateurs and thinking they're going to become great pros, and it usually doesn't work out that way. But like I said, if pressed to ask, I'm pretty sure Bob Arum would pick Lomachenko if you gave him true serum. You know, he ain't never compared Crawford to any of the all-time greats such as Ali. But he said Lomachenko is. And to me, Crawford is 10 times better. Oh, I ain't going to say 10 times, but I say about 3 times better than Lomachenko is at this point of career when you factor in resume and skills and the power punching and the offensive ability, in my opinion, right now. But Lomachenko can catch him up, and this is going to all change next year. But it's just my point of view right now.